So about Conquerors Haki in One Piece. Conquerors Haki was one of the luck-based elements added to the story, because it's not something you can try to obtain in the story. People who have Conquerors Haki are just born with it. You either already have it or you don't. It's not like observation or armament Haki. I think it was said that 1 out of a million or a few million get Conquerors Haki, so it is really rare to have. But a lot of complaints about Conquerors Haki has started to pop up ever since we got to the New World, probably since we got to Dressrosa. It was a fact that too many Conqueror Haki users are in the show now, because at that point, a few characters were being introduced to have it back to back. So people started to complain that there were too many characters that have it in the story. But today, I wanted to discuss why that isn't really true in the slightest, and that if anything, it is a very fair representation of Conqueror Haki users. Before that though, like and subscribe for future content. I can understand why people are frustrated with how many people are being given Conquerors Haki, because when it was first introduced it made it sound super rare, like only the biggest and most powerful characters would wield it. I mean, obviously Luffy would have it since he's the main character, but it probably gave off the impression that only the top strongest characters would be given it besides him, ones already established to be at the top of the world. But if you look into it more, Conquerors Haki isn't really all that rare at all. Let's assume that in the One Piece world they have our population, which is honestly probably a lowball, since the One Piece Earth is way bigger than our Earth. But yeah, let's just say their population is around 7.9 billion, just like ours. That would mean there are 7,900 potential Haki users around the world, and since it would be in their nature to conquer, they would mostly be concentrated around New World areas. Right now we only know just under 20 of them, and a lot of the ones we know are the obvious ones that people would guess have it, like Yonko's and maybe some of their commanders, or Roger and Rayleigh. So we really don't know much of any Conqueror Haki users in the grand scheme of things. Most of them are probably in a slumber state as well, since you can't really just use Conquerors Haki on the spot. People who have it find out they have it by accident. When they get pushed mentally to the brink, it just comes out. Like how Ace used it to save Luffy when they were kids, but ever since then it has never come out again for Ace. There are probably dozens of other people who had that happen to them as well, where it only comes out once or twice in their lifetime, but they don't even realize that they used it, or maybe even some of them don't use it at all, so most of them are probably not even aware that they have it. I'm more surprised we aren't seeing more of them, to be honest, since the New World should be a hot spot to find them. Being in these more competitive areas should make them a lot more common, so it is only natural that we will see a spike in how many are out there once we got to the New World, especially in places like Wano for example. With the whole war going on and it changing the power scales of the world, I can see how that will be attractive to Conqueror Haki users. From a story perspective, there's more than probably what people had imagined there would be, but looking at it from a global perspective, it makes a lot of sense. There's probably even more than 7,900 in the One Piece world, since their Earth is like 3 times the size of ours. For the people who are upset by this, I guess I can sort of relate to them, since Conquerors Haki has started to lose its wow factor with how many people have it now, but for a while now it's been kind of useless. At least for now, Conquerors Haki has no real utility if I'm being honest. Well, it does now, but that's only in the manga, so I won't really get into it. But for a long time, all it did was knock cannon fodder, since it is using your willpower to overpower others. But if someone had a willpower in your range, you couldn't really do anything to them with it. It might strain them mentally a little bit, but not by much from what I have seen. No decently relevant characters ever being affected by Conquerors Haki. It's just been used to sweep up fodder quickly, but you could do that even before, just by using a move or two. I mean, the purpose it's been given now makes it a lot more viable. Before though, Conquerors Haki was more of a gimmick than anything. It was cool to see, but it was never useful in fights, because even people without it can withstand it pretty easily. You just needed to not be cannon fodder, and you could pretty much withstand most people's conquerors. And even with this way of making Conquerors viable in the manga, a very small group of people can actually do it. It is basically the advanced version of it, like how there's advanced armament and observation. So even out of the group we have now, which is already pretty small in the grand scheme of things, only maybe 1/4 of those characters can use this advanced version of it. That's pretty much all I had to say though. If you enjoyed, like and subscribe for future content. Peace.